Hello, all my lovely stitchy friends. How are you? This is Flosstube number 49. It is Saturday, the 21st of December, and my name is Sally. I am also known as Flossie Sews and Grows here and on Instagram. This is a channel predominantly about cross stitch, occasionally other crafty bits, and maybe occasionally some gardening. Anyway, thank you for joining me. If you're a new subscriber, welcome. I really hope you enjoy listening to me talk about my stitching, and it would be great if you like what you hear, if you could hit that subscribe button, and then you'll be notified the next time I release a video. But if you are a regular viewer, thank you so much for joining me again. It's been a busy few weeks, and I have to say, I think my last 3 Flosstubes I've really struggled to keep up with replying to everybody's wonderful comments. I do go in and I try and heart everything, but sometimes there's just so many wonderful comments. I love reading them, give them a heart, and want to reply, but just occasionally, just to get a little bit caught up, that there's quite a few. So I really hope you don't mind, but I do really enjoy reading them and having that interaction with you as much as possible. So many of you have joined me and my lovely friend Sarah, Sarah, for the Fun for 50 sale. And yeah, we're coming towards the end now, coming towards the end of 2024. So today I have to show you a couple of finishes, which are both things that I started this year as part of the Fun for 50 sale to celebrate Sarah and I turning 50. And I've got 2 starts, start number 49 and start number 50. So I've got there. Excuse me. I've managed to do 50 new starts this year. Oh dear, excuse me. It's been absolutely fantastic. It's been really wonderful to do it. I'm so proud of myself. But do you know what I've loved most? I've loved most the friendship that it's brought me with Sarah has been amazing. But also it's brought me so many friendships with you out there as well. Just so many of you have messaged, have joined in, have stitched along. And it's been wonderful. There's been so many of you cheering Sarah and I from the sidelines, willing us to get through so many new starts, and it's just been wonderful. And some of the friendships I've made over this past year, I could never have imagined this time last year before we started that it would be so amazing. So, I just heard the iron click, and I just had quickly ironed one last project that I'd been working on this morning. I took Felicity to the physio, and I sat and stitched while she was having a physio session, and I just quickly ironed it. I heard the iron click, and I thought I better just check I'd switched it off. I have, so we're all good. And the other wonderful thing that's happened in the last 2 weeks was the Jingle Ball. So I last filmed 2 weeks last Friday, and that was the day that the Jingle Ball was starting. And what a weekend! It was absolutely awesome. Last year I was really undecided about whether to do the Jingle Ball or not, because I had a really busy weekend. And I think on the Friday as it opened, Kate, my friend who is at Crafty Kate, messaged me and said, it's actually, the freebies are really good. You should just do it for the freebies. And I was like, okay. So I think she screenshot one and went, this, the mock-up of it. I said, look, I think it was a Teresa Koga, and I was like, for $10, which works out about £8 in the UK. Yeah, just for the freebies, I'm going to do it. And I had a couple of hours, I think, on the Friday night. I might have had a couple of hours on the Saturday morning. And I think we went out to friends on the Saturday night. I think I did come back quite late and did kind of log on for a little bit, but didn't really spend a huge amount of time there. But did meet a few wonderful people, notably my friend Alex, who Alex Stitches. We met at Jingle Ball last year, and the friendship that's come from that was just amazing. So this year I knew that I was going to do it. I'd made sure that I kept the weekend free. We did have a couple of things that we ended up having to do, but kept the weekend as free as I could. Did we? Oh, we had choir on the Friday night though, so it didn't actually open until 11 o'clock on the Friday evening, UK time. I think that's kind of 5 p.m. over in the States. So, a reasonable time to start, but obviously for us it was quite late. We'd been to choir, we'd had a drink. I was absolutely exhausted, and Simon, my other half, said, "I'm going to bed at 10:30." I was like, "Okay." I was thinking of going to the Jingle Ball, but if you're going to bed, maybe I need to come too. So got into bed, switched out the light, and I lay there for maybe a good half an hour, thinking, I'm not going to sleep. I'm missing out on something. There's something really good going on, and I'm not there. By that time, Simon had fallen asleep and was quietly snortling away to himself. He doesn't snore really. But I knew he was asleep, and I just thought, right, I'm going to get up, wrap myself up. I'll have my pyjamas on. Will anyone notice? I can sit there with the camera off. I'm going to go and log in. So through I trundled, logged in, no camera, no sound. First room I went into, my friend Ros was in, and she said, "Oh, Sally's here if she's going to switch a camera on." And I thought, well, gonna have to switch it on now. Sat there in my pyjamas, but ho-hum, it was fine. Went onto the International Stitchers group, and there were lots of people there that I knew, and I had a really nice surprise that a lovely gentleman who always comments on my Flosstubes, called Michael, was in there. So we got to meet Michael. That was wonderful. I was so pleased to meet you, and I hope you had a lovely rest of the weekend. So it was just fantastic. And then Alex joined, and I'd already told Alex, I'm too tired, I'm going to bed. I'll be there. And she spotted me. She said, "Oh," sent me a message, "Oh, you are at the Jingle Ball." And I think I got to about 1:30, and I thought, that's it, I've got to go to bed now. But just had such a lovely evening, chatted to some new friends, some old friends, and it was wonderful. I then managed to spend quite a lot of Saturday. I think got up reasonably early Saturday morning actually, and went and logged in. And Alex messaged me and said, "Oh, I'm in this room." And our friend Caroline, who is Caroline's Stitch Corner, Alex told me at the Jingle Ball, "You do know you keep saying Caroline's name wrong." And I was like, oh, I keep adding a cross into it. So it's Caroline's Stitch Corner. So I'm very sorry, Caroline. Please forgive me that I've kept getting it wrong. Anyway, so they Alex messaged and said, "Oh, we're in this room." And so for a while, just the three of us were in a room having a chat, which was lovely. And then we gradually kind of went off and did other things, and other people joined us, and it was great. So I had quite a lot of Saturday dipping in and out of rooms and chatting to people, making new friends. There's just so many of you that I met last year at the Jingle Ball that it was great to meet again, and so many new friends as well that I've connected with. So that was just absolutely wonderful. Really. And there's just so many of you. I can't name you all because if I forget someone, I'll never forgive myself. So anyway, really wonderful. And then in the evening, I did the Stacey Nash class, which started at 11 o'clock. And I thought, I'm going to try and go as long as I can. And I think again, I managed to, did it start at 11? I think so. I managed till about 12:30, and I just thought, I've got to, because I'd had a late night the night before and up early, just thought, I can't do any more. It was wonderful what I'd seen, and I'll show you how far I've got with the stitching when we get to it. But it was a really lovely class. I haven't gone back and finished watching it yet, because I want to try and get the stitching finished so that I can then actually try and finish the book, the needle book as well. So but it was a really lovely class, and really enjoyed what I did watch. So Jingle Ball was just absolutely fantastic. Best £8 that you can spend, I think. I was very good this year. I didn't buy any new charts. I downloaded all the freebies, and then there were some beautiful charts that I thought I really, I do want to stitch that, but you'll see I've got a project that I've been stitching on that I bought at the Jingle Ball last year that has since been released. And I just thought, do you know what? I'm not going to start stitching any of these straight away. So I think the things that, you know, if the charts I liked aren't released eventually, well, I've lost out. But I'm not going to cry over it. You know, it's fine. But potentially, if any are released next year at market or just before Jingle Ball next year that I like this year, well, I'll then get the opportunity, if I still like them, to stitch them. By which time I might I might have stitched and got through quite a lot of my stash. But I was trying to be really, really good. Did download all the freebies though. So, and I really hope I'm going to try and stitch some of those next year. So it was wonderful. I really, really recommend doing the Jingle Ball. You can sit there and not join in, and if you don't want to, you can kind of sit there with your camera off and your voice, no sound. And as long as you haven't got a friend like Roz who spots you and says, "Hi, why isn't your camera on?" You're there. What do you think about such and such? You get away with it. And, you know, you can sit and listen to everyone else chatting. And, you know, there are people in there, like actually Roz was really good at kind of talking to everyone in the group if they wanted to and bringing them out. And, you know, there was a couple of times where I was asking people questions and they put in the chat, "Oh, my family's here, so I can't switch my mic on, but my answer is blah blah blah," or "Oh, my sound isn't working, but can you tell everybody blah blah blah?" And, you know, and that was lovely that people still wanted to join in, and they could by writing, and they didn't have to speak out, and it was fantastic, putting little messages in the message box. So it was wonderful. So I really, really would recommend doing it. And I think the Midsummer Ball is similar. I didn't do that this year because, again, busy weekend. I was just absolutely packed to the rafters, and so didn't do it. But again, that's if I've got a free weekend for that in the summer, I will definitely do that one as well, because it's a great way to talk to people, connect. Yeah, wonderful. So what have I got to show you? I've got a fully finished object. I've got a couple of finishes. Really got the bit between my teeth this week, and some starts. And yes, so let's get cracking. So first of all, I have a fully finished object. Here we go. Let's see if we can manage to avoid the glare in this, because I have put glass. There is glass in this. That side's better, I think. Not very good, but there we are. So this is The Joy of Winter, and this is by Stitches Through the Years. And this is actually a freebie, and I stitched this. I started. Oh, that's better. We've got no glare there. Okay, I stitched this, or started stitching this, I think at the end of 2023, and Stitchy Sally started a stitch along, which I joined in, and yeah, we're still all right with glare, aren't we? And I just loved this. I've stitched it on a 36 count country vintage mocha, pretty much using the call for threads. However, I don't know if you can see, where's for a bit of, so you can see I have used, I can't remember if it was a Krynic or a Petite Treasure braid, but there is some, I've actually put some gold in there, gold metallic thread, just to carry it off, and I think it looks fabulous. So thrilled. Now it is a little bit wonky in this frame. I'd bought this frame with it in mind, and I'd actually also bought the smaller one at the same time. And what happened was I cut the board out for this, the backing board for me to lace this onto, and I laced it onto it, and then I put it in here, and it just was too close to the sides. It just didn't look right at all. So I took it out, obviously cut the lacing off, and then laced it onto a bigger piece. But because I'd stupidly cut the fabric, it just was a little bit too short. So kind of down here at the edge, I've literally got a millimetre of fabric that I've laced at the back to the other side. So it's not quite even in that frame, but oh well, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. And again, nobody, maybe my stitching friends might just look at it and think it, but I don't think they'd ever tell me that they thought it was a bit uneven and a bit wonky, because they're not like that. So anyway, that's my fingers crossed. So that was my fully finished. I also had some finishes. Now I stupidly have hidden those under my new start. Let's pop that there. So I finished Steampunk Penelope. Here we are. Now I had finished stitching Autumn, but I stitched practically the whole weekend of the Jingle Ball. I stitched the Stacey Nash Gingerbread House because I really wanted to try and get it finished. And I have to say, I think I'd got a bit, I'm fed up of this now by the end of the weekend. And I just thought, actually, I want to finish something. I want a finish. I need a finish. I've stitched on this so much and it's still not finished. Let me finish something else. And I thought, what have I got that actually will I be able to finish quite quickly? And I picked this one up, and it was great because I also had quite a bit of fill-in. Oh, it was finishing off this border, and I thought, well, I've got Cheshire Stitches on Saturday and I can finish off those bits then. So actually I got a finish at Cheshire Stitches, which was really wonderful because all my table mates were egging me on, and then when I finished they all cheered, and we didn't have a bell, but they all, Sue, my friend Sue, got her phone out and got a bell sound and did a bell, and everyone kind of looked round and cheered, and I held it up in the air, and it was great. So I was really, really pleased with that. Now it's on a biggish piece of fabric. I'm not going to fully finish it yet because I have Penelope's friend Percy. So he will now wait probably until I feel like stitching Autumn a bit more, and he'll go next to her on the other side of the fabric. So thrilled with this. This is a chart by, I've dropped the bag. Let me pick it up. I've got it in a lovely, I love this bag. This is a bag by Nicola at Be Crafty Bags. So it's a Halloweeny one, vinyl front one. So Penelope and Percy are both designed by, he's Percival, actually, Percival. Annie at the Proper Stitcher. And I've pretty much, with Penelope, I have stitched her with pretty much the called for threads. A mix, actually, of the called for Weeks Dye Works and DMC. So I think the black, for example, I've used 310. I think the called for was Onyx Weeks Dye Works. And I was just, I think I've got some, but not very much. And I just thought, well, it's black and I'm just going to do it. That doesn't need to be the variegated bit. So there we go. So she's finished, thrilled with that. I'm going to leave her in the bag because Percy will be up next at some point. Then my other finish, let me just bend down and grab my board. So this is the primitive hare, and it's not hoarding if it's cross stitch. This is fabulous. I bought this from the primitive hare at the Big Stitch in the summer because I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and I started stitching it in the end of October as part of the Hair of the Dog Sale, which was hosted by Rachel at Talking Dog Stitcher, the owner of Talking Dog Stitchery, and to celebrate her birthday, she wanted everybody to do a primitive hare chart. So this was the one I chose, and I love it. I stitched this on a fabric that had been hand dyed and gifted to me by my friend Caroline, who is Caroline's Stitch Corner. And here we are. So beautiful, beautiful pink, a little bit of shadow there, but I've stitched it with a Cottage Garden thread, which I've already gone and put away in with my other Cottage Garden threads, called Les Ciel, La Ciel, C-I-E-L. So it's a variegated purple and grey, and then I've used a Roxy Floss Co thread here, which is called Shy Violet. Now on the chart you will see there are some hairs. And I haven't stitched these. I've kind of thought, I don't think, I can understand why they're there because it's primitive hair. But for me, I don't think I need them. And I was going to stitch a little spool, I was going to stitch a needle, and I thought, I'm not actually sure that I need to do that either. I might change my mind, but I got another finish, and that was kind of the key thing for me, that I needed to get something else finished under my belt, try and clear some of my 2024 projects so I can go into 2025 with a few less. So thrilled with that, and I think it's going to hang up somewhere, maybe here, just here, probably the other side. Which way? There. It's funny when you're on a cat on, you can't tell the other side of that. Yeah, there. On the wall, which is the wall in between where I sit and where Simon sits the other end, down the other end of the table. And just so he can, he can see this whenever he's like, oh, have you not already got enough cross stitch stuff? I can go, look what it says. It's not hoarding if it's cross stitch. Yeah, he's here. He's here now, typing at the other end, and he's waving and laughing. Anyway, there we go. So finished. 2 finishes. Absolutely very happy that I've managed to do that, because I did have a new start. So new start number 49 is Strawberry Fields Forever by Blackbird Design, and I started this along with Sarah. Start number 49 for both of us, and this was to celebrate Sarah turning 50. So I started this on Sarah's birthday because I was at home and I could. Sarah was having a wonderful weekend away, so she started a couple of days later, but I'm glad she was having a good weekend. She deserves it. So here we are. So this actually, it was a Jingle Ball start because it was the Sunday of Jingle Ball, and I started it when Alex, Caroline and I were in a room together. I realised, I'd planned this. Sarah and I had talked at the beginning of the year. Well, so by this time last year, I knew I was stitching Strawberry Fields Forever for Sarah's birthday. Do you think I'd kitted it up? No. I think I might have just forgotten because I'd been kitting everything else up, and the threads for this were in other projects. And anyway, so it came to Sunday morning, and I was like, I need to kit this up. And so kind of was half sat on Jingle Ball and half trying to come through and get colours. And thank you, Alex, because Alex really did just. There were a couple of fancy flosses that I didn't actually have or I couldn't find, and Alex had them, so she was showing me the colour of the fancy floss next to the DMC, and so we were able to figure out what I needed. So anyway, I made a small start. I made a really small start with the roof, and this was actually the roof colour that Alex had sorted out for me. So that was the DMC, when I think the actual chimneys are the fancy floss. So here we go. Some of the colours there. So yeah, I did have to do a bit of a raid of a couple of other projects, but I made a start, and I'm stitching this on 40 count fabric from Swan Bay Fabrics, so from Marie in South Wales, and this is Highbury Gold, and I think it's a great fabric for this project. It's a nice neutral, hasn't got a lot of mottling on it, so it's just, I think it's perfect for a chart like Strawberry Fields. So small start, and I think this will get a lot more love in the spring when it's starting to get a little bit more towards strawberry season. And it's in a lovely chicken bag that was gifted to me by the lovely Pauline at Sobe Bags. So living in there. So I'm going to really enjoy doing that one when I get to it, but for now, this is the one. This is the one that I've really been trying to finish. So, oh, hang on, that was a new start. I need to show you my other new start. New start number 50. It's this one. I've got to show you a picture of this because I haven't got the chart. It's one I got out of a magazine. That's the other thing. So, Oh, it's all going a bit wrong. So, before I forget, Strawberry Fields. So, you lovely, lovely people out there gave Sarah and I lots and lots of prompts for our 50 starts, and we looked at where we could work to using the prompts you gave us to our new starts. So, Strawberry Fields. Now I'm writing. I've written notes. I have written notes. Can you believe it? I've written notes, and I'm not. I seem to be ignoring them. Maybe because they're a bit small. I'm struggling a little bit. So Strawberry Fields. There were 2 prompts for this that I used. One was by Roz, who said a fab border, stitch a fab border. Well, it's got a great border, Strawberry Fields. I put it away now so you can't see it. The other prompt was from Lizzie, who is this Mrs. Fisher. Put my teeth in. This Mrs. Fisher stitches, and Lizzie had given a prompt of stitch something from a place that you love. Now, Strawberry Fields is in Liverpool. So it was the children's home that was behind where John Lennon grew up as a boy. He used to go and play in the field. It was part of Strawberry Fields. And as you know, I went to visit Strawberry Fields in the summer. We had it's now the building, the actual house that was there and was a children's home has actually been knocked down. But there's a visitor centre that's run by the Salvation Army, and they have an office there as well. And it's still very much raising money for the Salvation Army, but also telling the story of John growing up and Strawberry Fields, etc., and the history of that. So it's a wonderful place, and I wouldn't say Liverpool is my favourite place, but I really like Liverpool. It's a great city. It's only an hour away from us where we live here. We can get there quite easily, and of course my Simon is a Liverpool Football Club supporter, as is my daughter now, and they go to games together quite often. So Liverpool, and my dad worked in Liverpool. So my dad was from down south. My dad grew up near London, and my mum grew up in this village that I now live in. And they met in the mountains in Snowdonia. He climbed and walked, and mum walked. And when they kind of got together, he looked for a job, and he got a job up in Liverpool. And he moved up here, and he rented a room at my great grandmother's house. And then eventually mum and dad got married, and they bought my great grandmother's house off her, and she went to live in a granny flat at my grandparents' house. So dad's first job up north was in Liverpool. So again, as a child, I used to go there quite often to meet him after work, and the nice shops were in Liverpool. When I was little, you couldn't get in. There were shops in Chester, but it was a treat for mum to go to Liverpool and go to the big department stores there. So Liverpool has got a bit of a special place in my heart. So it's a great prompt from Lizzie. So, start number 50 was started yesterday. And this is Seasons of the Heart Autumn by The Blue Flower. And it's from... So I haven't got the chart because it is from Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, and it's the full 2021 issue, and I'm a digital subscriber to that magazine, so I don't have a hard copy, hence there's a photo here. And this is my start so far. Very, 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 very tiny, and I actually started this yesterday in honour of my friend Fanny, who is one of the Soul Stitchers, as it was Fanny's birthday. And a number of us had said, a few of us who were friends with Fanny said, what can we do to start for your birthday? And she said a blue flower pattern. So this was the one that I chose. And actually, it's absolutely perfect because this is the only one of the seasons that I've got left to do. I've stitched all the others, so I'll show them to you now. But really, really pleased to have made a start on this one. All the called for DMCs, and I don't know what the fabric is. It could be sand dunes from Fabrics by Crafty Kate, but I'm not sure because it is 40 count. All the others I've stitched in 40 count, and I put this bit of fabric in the bag a long time ago, so that I knew what I wanted to. And I did check yesterday. I was like, I need to make sure this is 40 count, because I've done all the others, and if I display them all together, they need to look the same size. It's likely I'd have bought a 40 count from Kate maybe at a retreat, because the fabric of the month I have from her is 36 count, but this also could have been a fabric from my magic stash bag, a 40 count. So I'm not 100% sure what it is. It could very well be a mystery. So that's autumn. Let me just show you. No, it's autumn, because I've stitched winter. So there's winter finished and stitched up. This is spring with the bunnies. I was having to think then, was it spring or summer? There we go. And then this is the summer with the strawberries and the beehive. So there we go. So I've stitched the 3 out of the 4. So it's going to be really good now to just throw them in the box of doom, ready for fully finishing. But I need to finish this one first. So Sarah, I believe. So I did start this yesterday because it was Fanny's birthday, which I'd thought was either the 21st or 22nd. I got it completely wrong. Alex reminded me it was the 20th, so I think I might have stitched this a day earlier than Sarah finishing today. But there we go, starting today. So Sarah, I think, has started number 50 today, and she started stitching Barbara Anna 4 Seasons with Jackie from Comfort Stitcher, and I've already stitched that, otherwise I would have joined in with them. And I'll show you. I'm thinking it's quite an awkward shape, that one, so I'm thinking I might actually take that one to Nimble Thimble and get it framed, so hope possibly in the new year. So I will show you that one as soon as I've got it framed. So back to what I have spent a lot of time stitching on to try and get a finish. This is Stacey Nash, and it's the Gingerbread House. I stitched this a lot at the Jingle Ball. It was fabulous. The one thing about the Jingle Ball is, if you don't know what to say, you can always say, what's everyone stitching on? And every single time someone asked me what I was stitching on, or what when the group were talking about what they were stitching on, I was like, I'm stitching on the Gingerbread House. And I think there were people who I met on the Friday night. I'm not sure if I stitched on it on the Friday night, actually, because I got out of bed, but definitely on the Saturday, who then saw it later on the Sunday afternoon, who were like, whoa, you've made loads of progress since yesterday. So I did a lot of fill-in on those lights. So this is the front of the house. There we go. So I finished the door, and I did a lot of the fill-in with the windows. This, I think I talked about this on my last Flosstube, that I was just a bit disappointed with the colour of this wreath here. And actually I talked to a group of ladies about it at the Jingle Ball, and it was Zoe, who I think is I'm going to put her name here because I can't quite remember her Instagram handle. It's witchy something, and I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm going to put it here. Zoe actually suggested I just could, rather than unpick what I'd already done on that wreath, because it's quite difficult to see. Can you see? It's really difficult to see that there's two different colours. There's the door, and then there's the pink ribbon on the wreath. I can't quite get with the light, and you can't really see it. And Zoe suggested that actually I got a lighter pink and stitched over it rather than unpicking it, just stitched over it, which was a great idea, and I think it will help it just stand out a little bit as well. So I stitched a lot of those, the windows and the door, and then I also finished the door on this side. And since the Jingle Ball, I've done some of the wreath. I've come up to do this window here. I've been stitching this when Fliss was in physio today. I've been stitching you can see I've got hanging thread. I was doing that. So it's really coming on. It's really coming on. I've still got quite a bit to finish on this side, the mice and the attic, and on this side the snow on the wind on the roof, and the wreath, the thought pattern along the top there. As you can see, I chose a different, so this should have been in linen, Weeks Dye Works linen thread, and I didn't have that, so I've used one colour just to outline, and then I've used ecru for the white inside the house. I just felt that the white possibly wouldn't show up on the outline of that very well, so I think that's okay. I think I made an okay choice to do that one, so that's fine. That's absolutely fine. So I want to get that one finished. I won't get it finished for Christmas now because we're on Saturday. We're out at friends tonight. We're at friends tomorrow. We're at possibly Monday. It's going to be a bit crazy, and then it's Christmas Eve on Tuesday. I've got an amazing Christmas coming up, absolutely amazing. And some of you know what I'm doing for Christmas, but I can't tell the world. But Christmas is going to be fabulous this year. I will tell you after Christmas what I've done for Christmas, and it's really exciting. But yeah, it's going to take a little bit of prep, so I'm not going to get this finished for Christmas, although I do want to be able to finish this gingerbread house by the end of the year. We'll see. The next one I wanted to finish this one as well, but I kind of picked it up and put it back down again a little bit, is Home for Christmas by Plum Street Samplers, and love this one. This is just such a nice stitch. I think since you last saw it, I'd really tried to get the windows in here and just get this into a position that if I had chance at the Jingle Ball to do some filling, I could. However, I didn't because I just concentrated on the gingerbread house. That's pretty much all I stitched. So not as much of this done as I would have hoped, but maybe over the Christmas period I might be able to get some of this stitched. It is stitched on the call for fabric, I think, which is Winter's Brew by R&R Reproductions, and it is stitched in the called for fancy floss. I've just substituted a couple, I think, for DMCs. What have I substituted? I think the green, maybe the green of the flowers, and the door, I think I've substituted with DMCs. Nothing that really stands out too much. So good progress on that. I'm going all over the place, aren't I, today? I should have told you that I'm stitching Gingerbread House on 35 count fabric called Gingerbread from Sparklies, and I'm stitching it predominantly in the call for fancy flosses, but again I've substituted some colours in there for DMC, and actually I have substituted, can you see, so have a look at the green of the house. So these are 2 Weeks Dye Works. Now actually on the camera they look quite different. You can see there's 2 colours in that tree, but actually in real life they look very similar, and you can't really tell that there's much of a difference. So they were side by side on this fireplace, that's the right word. Words gets harder. And I thought, I think a couple of people had said they look quite similar. So actually, and also there's mice up here playing in the attic that were stitched in one of the greens as well. And I thought, I don't know if I want to stitch my mice in green. I think it's a Weeks Dye Work colour that actually can either be quite green like mine or more browny coloured. Not mine. Stacey Nash's I think was more brown. So actually I have introduced a brown. I think I've used Weeks Dye Work chestnut actually into that, just to make it look a bit different, just to make it my own. So I told you everything about those 2 whips. Final whip. Yes, this is the final whip. So this is Santa and the Maker Santa and the Woolmakers in actual fact, and it is by Liz Matthews and Kathy Barrick. Now this was an exclusive at the Jingle Ball last year, and this is how far I'd got with it. And this is how far I've got with it since then. I've probably put 3 or 4 sessions in on this, and I've not really made a huge amount of progress. So I have pretty much stitched this lamb, and I've started to stitch his belt and his cloak going downwards. This one is slow. So this is on a 40 count XG Designs fabric, and it's lamb's wool. It is beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful, but it's 40 count, and do you know what? I've bitten the bullet. I'm using a magnifier, and it's only in the last 2 days I've realised that I could do it. I've got one on my light, don't really use it as a magnifier, and I thought I need to see where that stitch is going. I can't see, and I was like, oh, that's quite good. And I think, I think I've said before, I've been going off 40 count because 36 is definitely easier for me to see, and therefore just far more fun to stitch. But I've still got projects with 40 count, and I don't want to get rid of them, so I need to stitch them still. And it was a revelation to suddenly be able to see it through the magnifier. So ho hum, I'm not going to beat myself up about it. There might be purists out there who say if you can't see it with your bare eyes, you shouldn't be stitching it. I am not of that opinion. I am very much, if it makes your life easier using the magnifier, use the magnifier. If it means you can stitch on what you love stitching on, do it. There you go. That is my opinion. I'm sure many of you will agree. And I do have a few hanging threads on this one as well. I do apologise. But anyway, so I think my whole kind of thinking of not buying anything at the Jingle Ball was really that I had this one in mind, that, I bought it at the Jingle Ball last year. It was then released in the summer at market, so I could have bought it then and probably wouldn't be any further ahead of where I am now. So, I've just thought, no, I've got to get on, and I've got to stitch some of what I've already got. And I've got a massive pile of charts in front of me as well. I did buy some new charts that I showed you on my last Flosstube because I'd had a gift voucher. So, and I'd got, did I buy 4, 5 charts there? So, didn't need any at the Jingle Ball. But anyway, so I've been stitching this. Told you it's XG Designs 40 count, and I've been predominantly stitching it with my own conversion of threads. So I think the model is stitched in MPI. It's beautiful, the original model that Kathy and Liz did. But I haven't got MPIs, and I wasn't going to kit it up in MPIs. So I used a mix of the DMC, but I have also, where I've had them, thrown in some Roxy Floss co-colours. So certainly Santa Claus's coat is going to be done in Roxy Floss Co. Now this one actually wasn't labelled. It didn't have a name. I think somebody gifted it to me, but I think it's Merlot because I've since bought Merlot, and I think it's the same. So that's Merlot. And then there was another one that I'd been gifted that didn't have a name. So I mean, these are old because these are Leo and Roxy. So obviously there's, it's now Roxy Floss Co. And new branding. So I think, so this is I don't know what that is, but I've been using that as well. And also been using a bit of Milkshake too, and some Etoile, because that actually it does stand out better, and I might, where the snowflakes might actually, I think I'll use the Etoile for all of those. So I've just been putting colours in that perhaps fit what I've got in my stash a little more than the called for DMCs that I might not have had. But now I've got magnification on that, I think that would be going better. And I have planned, I think with doing the 50 new starts this year, I really did so many and so many smalls at the start of the year, and didn't really incorporate many Christmas charts with that. And so I've kind of got to Christmas, and I've got a couple that I'm stitching on now, and I've obviously just had a fully, there's a fully finished there of something that I stitched that probably could have been fully finished for last Christmas, to be fair. But I've not stitched a lot. I haven't really got anything new for this Christmas, and I love Christmas. I love Christmas charts, and I've got quite a lot of Christmas charts in my stash. So I think as part of my kind of challenges for myself this year, I will be doing Jolly July and trying to get lots stitched for Christmas. So I'll try and finish this Santa and the Woolmaker for next Christmas. Home for Christmas, obviously Gingerbread House, I want to get that finished before the end of the year. So I want to do far more Christmas, and actually part of that, so I've talked about doing monthly challenges next year. I've talked about in previous Flosstube, so certainly if you want to go back to my last Flosstube, I talk more about what I'm going to do in January, which will be I want to really stitch a lot of the British designers charts that I've got, and I've definitely got 12 that I'm going to do, but also where I've got a British designer that I've as a whip, I really want to work on that as well. I was going to do something for February. I was going to do freebie February or something like that, but actually my friend Jacinta, who is crafting on the plains, is actually going to do a freebie sale for the whole of 2025, and I'm definitely going to join in on that. So what I think I probably will do will be stitch at least one freebie a month, and I excuse me, coughing again, I'll probably try and make it small, and I probably will try and concentrate on Christmas and perhaps Halloween for those, that I can have a Halloween tree and a Christmas tree, because I've seen so many people with lots of stitching trees, and I'm like, I want to do that as well. So that's definitely something I'm going to do. So Jolly July to try and get a lot of my Christmas things stitched, and then the freebie sale with Jacinta throughout the year. Best of British sale, so I did talk about that last time, so I've kind of moved on to plans here really smoothly. Did you see that smooth transaction? So you'll all know that I'm starting Cabin in the Woods by Lauren from Flossabilities on the 1st of January, and I'm stitching that with my friend Marianne for the start of her birthday year, because she's got a big birthday next year. So haven't got a cough, it is just a tickle, but it's quite frustrating. So please do excuse me. So many of you have said that you're going to come along and start Cabin in the Woods, which is fantastic. So it's a fantastic start for Marianne's birthday year, and also for the Best of British sale. Keely, who is Cakes and Stitches, contacted me and said, I've also got the Spring at Lock Lane chart, which is by the Old Barn Stitch Company, and can we stitch it together? And I was like, fantastic, yes. So we've given that one a date of the 5th of January. So going to start that one then. And then also one that I'm going to add is this Snowflake Bouquet. Going to add this to my January starts, and again I'm not sure where. I think I'll do a tiny decision wheel for any that I haven't got a set date for, just to kind of randomly start them. This Snowflake Bouquet, this is from Karen at Thistle Heart Creation, and I was looking for monochrome charts because I've got some beautiful variegated threads that I've either just bought as one-offs or I've been gifted, and I do need some monochrome patterns to stitch some of those to really take advantage of the variegations. And I think I've got a couple of silks that I really want to do that with. I thought that was an absolutely fantastic chart to do that with, so that's another one that I'm going to add in. Yeah, so what else have I got to talk to you about? I've got a giveaway. going to talk about one more thing before then, actually, because there's another one that I am going to stitch as well in January. This is a really important one to talk to you about, because there's a really good cause behind this one as well. So many of you do know my lovely friend Charlie, who is Stitches with Charlie Feathers. Charlie and I met through stitching, and actually she now works at the same company that I do. So we do get to speak quite regularly, and certainly kind of see each other on messages each day, because we both work virtually, so we're both working from home, nearly opposite ends of the country, but it's wonderful to work together. We had a big storm a couple of weeks ago, and I know some of you will know, certainly Michelle at Mama Loves You GB lost electricity. I saw Elaine at the Cheshire Stitchers 2 weekends ago. She'd lost electricity for 4 days as well. So really, there were parts of the country that were really badly hit. And unfortunately, Charlie's little girl, Fern, her kindergarten was actually destroyed by some trees falling in the storm. I'm just going to pop a picture here. Really, really devastating. I think they'd been unable to get insurance because of the location, because it was situated in a forest, and it's just such a shame. So they are currently trying to raise £10,000 that they can rebuild the kindergarten or repair it. So Yasmin's Made with Love has designed a chart for this worthy cause for Charlie, and looks like this. And Charlie has started stitching it, and she sent me a photo this morning of where she's got to so far with stitching it herself. And she is giving this for a minimum donation of £10. You can get this chart from her Ko-fi account, so I'll pop a link down below for how you can get to that. And I think I'll probably will start this one myself on the 2nd of January. So please go and have a look. If you don't want the chart, please just go and make a donation anyway. I think I was looking, so Charlie'd also shared with me the Just Giving page. She'd shared it with our work friends, and I think they have so far raised £2,500 of the £10,000 that they need to raise. So they've still got a little bit to go. So please, please, please have a look. And yeah, it's a beautiful chart. It's an absolutely beautiful chart. I think I might stitch it without the words and just stitch the beautiful flower bouquet. I think that'd be lovely for a gift on the front of a project bag or something. So it's a great chart. So that is one that I'm going to start 2nd of January as well. So finally, yes, there's another giveaway. There is another giveaway this episode. I can't believe it. And I can't read my notes. I've had new glasses. They're great, aren't they? But actually, I've sellotaped the notes to my... Sorry, there we go. I have my notes. But I can't actually read my notes. I don't think it helps. It's gone dark outside. I normally film on a Friday morning. But yesterday morning, Simon didn't go to work. I'm like, right, we just need to get the final bits of Christmas shopping done. And got back home and I was going to film, and I had to work. I'd finished work the day before and something came in. I was like, I have to deal with it. So I was a bit frustrated. So I didn't get to film yesterday morning, and then this morning, couldn't have done it this morning. So there's just other stuff going on. So anyway, so it's so I think it's possibly the light, not necessarily the new glasses. But anyway, I do have a giveaway. So the lovely Karen at Thistle Heart Creation, who was the designer of the snowflake bouquet that I've just shown you, she contacted me as she loved the idea that I'm highlighting and showcasing British designers. So she offered to give away one of her charts as a PDF from her Margot the Mouse series. So there are 3 in the Margot the Mouse series. There's a Merry Mousemas, which is obviously a Christmas one, a Squeaky Halloween, which is a Halloween chart, and then a little bit taller, which is more of a summery one. So that's Thistle Heart Creation. So go and have a look at Karen's Etsy site, where you'll find the 3 Margot charts, but you'll also find all the other charts that she's designed. And if you'd like to enter to win one of the Margot stitches, what I'd like you to do is tell me what your favourite chart of Karen's is. Tell me which your favourite one is. So it can be any of those that are on her Etsy store. Any of those could be your favourite. But if you do win, then obviously you'll have to pick one of the Margot ones to be sent as PDF. But so tell me what your favourite Thistle Heart creation chart is. At the moment, mine's that snowflake bouquet because that's what I really, really want to stitch. So I think we are done with Flosstube number 49. I'm hoping I've not left anything out. Hoping when I wrote my notes, there's always things. Just the couple of days before I film, I'm always like, oh, I must remember to say this. I must remember to say that. And I sometimes forget. Jingle Ball, done. Cheshire Stitches, so that was 2 weekends ago. No, that was last Saturday. Lovely day. We've been going just over a year now. Great day. Sat next to my friend Sue. Normally sat on the same table, actually, if we're there in time. Sat next to Sue with Kate, who's crazy. Kate is tasked that she has to stitch 25 stitches by the time it gets to 3 o'clock. And if it gets to 3 o'clock and Kate has stitched her 25 stitches, Kate can have pudding. It's great. It's a great challenge. She got to 32, I think, this time. Lindsay, who's the Cheshire Stitcher, normally sit opposite her. And then Elaine, of course, Ellie Welly Stitcher, was able to come this time. And she brought her neighbour, Claire, who I'd heard so much about on Elaine's Flosstube, and also at, the previous times I've seen Elaine. Elaine, I think when I saw her in the summer, we went over for a barbecue and Claire had just started cross-stitching. Claire had just started to do it. So it's really good to meet Claire and see what she's been stitching. And we were all there promising her that at some point she will have more than one project, because at the moment she's monogamous. I can't say the word monogamous. And yeah, we kept saying it will soon be that you'll have more than one. Oh, and the other person that was there was Tan, who is CXC Tan, and it was lovely to meet Tan as well. So we've been I think she'd inspired me to start the Rainbow Quaker, so there'd been a few conversations there, so it was lovely to meet Tan too. So it was a really, really well attended meeting actually last week. We have an area in a pub, and we're kind of starting to overspill a little bit now. I think we perhaps either need to find a bigger pub, or we need to get them to can change the table slightly. But it's a good, they do some good food there, and they're really lovely staff, and quite happy for us to be there all afternoon stitching. But then we normally all do have, you know, a main course and a pudding and lots of drinks, lots of pots of tea. So yeah, it's been a really good 2 weeks with 2 weekends of stitching, Jingle Ball and Cheshire Stitches. And yeah, and now we have Christmas. So I'm really hoping I can come back and do a Flosstube right at the end of the year, and I want to show you all of my 50 projects for 2024, whether they be finished or still as a whip or still like Strawberry Fields. And I think I've got one other as well, one of the tiny towns which has got just a roof. Show you all of my projects of this year. So I'm really hoping I can do that right at the end, you know, maybe the 30th, 31st of December, before we hit January. I'd really like to do that. But so really that just leaves me to say, have a wonderful Christmas, everybody. For those of you who don't celebrate it, or perhaps find it hard to celebrate, I hope it's just a peaceful time for you. And for those with little children, I hope that you manage to get some sleep and you're not up too early. For everyone else, just enjoy. I hope you get some stitchy time, and I hope to see you just before New Year. So take care, everybody, and happy stitching. Bye.